Another scream filled the room. It was Lotus. She ran across the room toward Junpei, her eyes wide with terror.
Yashiro! Heigu! Kochi ni kore!
Snake's ill-fated attack had loosened Ace's grip on her, and she made a run for it. She reached Seven and Junpei and ducked behind them.
Incineration will start in 5 minutes.
He raised the gun.
そいつがいないと困るんだよ。私とその女と例の9番のバングルで認証を行わないと、この背後にある9の扉から脱出することができないんだ。
1 plus 8 plus 9 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
だから早くしてくれ、時間がないんだ。
In the center of the room, Snake's body lay eerily still. He looked like a human larva, prone and vulnerable on the floor.
ああ、なるほど。やむをえんな。ならば君たちにはここで死んでもらうことにしよう。幸いなことに弾はまだ5発も残っている。純平君に1発、社に1発、そこのバカでかい男に3発お見舞いして、私は社の体を引きずりながらこの部屋を後にすることにしよう。
Seriously, he's into some really freaking weird kinks, and it's a little creepy. It's actually really creepy. If he's gonna take her body, you don't need the body, you just need the bracelet, and
Incineration will start in 4 minutes.
fuck.
さあ、そろそろ時間だ。君たちと遊べて楽しかったよ。
I didn't. Junpei could see Ace's finger tighten. He could see it begin to squeeze down on the trigger. His body tensed, preparing for the catastrophic impact of hot lead against human flesh.
それじゃあな。
Then it happened. Oh. Snake stood up.
バカな。
For the first time, Ace's composure broke. With obvious effort, Snake lunged forward, one step closer to Ace. Then another. He looked, for all of the world, like a zombie. His voice was the mournful wailing of the undead.
来るな、それ以上近づいてみろ。今度こそ本当にお前を。
Little by little, Ace was retreating. Snake didn't stop. He continued his stiff, inexorable approach, his eyes twin pools of pure fury.
聞こえないのか。来るなと言ってるだろうが。くそー、この死に族のイベー。
Ace's revolver leapt 5 times. 5 times, the air in the incinerator was split by the crack of a bullet. Snake's body twitched as 5 clouds of blood and torn flesh leapt into the air across his body. A fine pink mist drifted from his body and disappeared. Junpei didn't have time to ponder what that meant before... And then his strength was gone, his legs crumbled, and his broken and battered body slid to the floor.
Incineration will start in 3 minutes.
今度こそ死ん。
But Snake wasn't done. Even as the pool of blood beneath him grew, he began to move. He half crawled, half slid toward Ace. One bloody arm wrapped itself around Ace's leg. And the other gripped his thigh with strength that should have been long gone.
貴様、化け物か。
離せ離すんだくしゃ
He kicked at Snake with his free leg, driving his foot into Snake's face, his arm, his shoulder. It made no difference. Snake refused to release him. Once a snake has ensnared its prey, rarely does it release it.
一宮、これで終わりだな。僕と共に地獄の豪華に焼かれるといい。
なんだと
Incineration will start in 2 minutes.
いやくしゃくしゃ離せ離すんだこのけたものめわかったわかったそれじゃこうしよう私の会社の傘下にある病院そこに優秀な医者がいるこの程度の傷ならおそらく簡単に治してもらえるはずだ君は知らないきっと助かるだからな
哀れだな。この子に及んで命乞いとは。
Then Seven and Lotus began to speak. Junpei could hear tears in their voices, and their words were strained.
兄さんもういいもう十分だ
ええ、そうよニルス。もう分かったわ。
最高ニルスここを出るんだ
一緒に行きましょう。みんなで脱出するの。
Snake turned toward them. He coughed, and blood splattered across the floor. Then he smiled a sad sort of smile.
悪いけどそれはできないよ。僕に構わず君たちは早く脱出を。僕はこいつを道連れにして。
うるさい黙れ
僕は四つ葉を妹を守れなかった。
I never really looked at just the background, but I can just see all the blood just around him. But he looks so satisfied. It's sad.
これはせめてもの罪滅ぼしさ。あの世であいつに許してもらうために。さあだから早く行け行くんだ。
Incineration will start in 1 minute.
くそダメだもう時間がない行くぞジュペイヤシロ
Seven ran toward the exit. Lotus followed him. But Junpei couldn't move. There were white lines down Snake's cheeks where his tears had washed the blood away. He was broken, body and soul, and Junpei felt as though half his own heart had been torn out. His eyes stung, and he tried desperately to swallow, to clear the lump in his throat.
純平君何をやってる。早く行け。
Junpei's chest tightened, pulled taut by anger, misery, and a cold feeling of emptiness. Pure emotion surged through his heart alongside the torrent of blood. He could feel it building, a tremendous wave growing taller and taller and taller. And then it broke, crashing down with tremendous force onto his shaken, unprepared mind. Junpei's rational mind was gone. He was driven by instinct now, and he launched himself across the floor at Snake and Ace. Or he tried to.
待て、妖精。バカなまではやめろ。
He felt a hand grab him from behind. It was Seven. Before he had time to react, the larger man had pinned Junpei's arms to his sides and was hauling him bodily back toward the door.
嫌だ嫌だニルスを助けるんだニルスを離せ離せ
Incineration will start in 10 seconds.
Oh shit. Seven,
6,
くそ、仕方ねえ。悪く思うなよ。
5, 4, 3, 2,
せやれや。
1, 0. Gate 2 and Gate 3 lockdown complete. Engaging incineration.
Junpei felt Seven's fist bury itself deep in his stomach, and then his legs turned to mush. Seven scooped him up in the same motion and leapt through the door. It slammed shut behind them. Junpei struggled to shaky feet. He glanced over to see Lotus a short distance away. Junpei ran to the door.
あいつは
There was a small window cut into it. Inside he could see Ace and Snake.
くそくそ、なぜだなんでだ。どうして私がこんな目に遭わなければならない答えろゼロ。どうしてどうしてゼロゼロ。
You deserve so much more than to burn to death.
ゼロ。
It's too good a death for you. He didn't know how much time passed. He didn't know how long he stood there in front of the incinerator. He looked to the side. Lotus's face was ashen, and if not for the hand she'd put against the wall, Junpei didn't think she could have stood. Seven looked old and tired and used. His eyes stared at the floor, seeing nothing. Junpei said nothing. He simply began to walk toward the open door and the hallway they'd come down earlier.
おい待て順平。
純平君どこに行くの
He blinked when their voices broke the silence. He stopped.
待っててくれ紫とサンタを連れてくる
連れてくるって。
どうやって
いいからお前らは黙ってそこで待ってればいいんだよ
He began to walk away. He looked over his shoulders and watched Seven and Lotus grow smaller and smaller. They stared back, not moving. He wasn't sure if they could. He turned around again. He knew where he was going.
さっきここを通った時あれを動かすことさえできればもしかしたら
Before long, Junpei found himself in front of the elevator. Next to the door was a button with a triangle on it.
動いてくれよ
He pushed it, and the door opened.
Shh.
Junpei was in the large hospital room.
紫サンタ
He kept calling and walked to the center of the room. But try as he might, he couldn't find them.
くそどこ行っちまったんだあいつら
Increasingly frustrated and increasingly worried, Junpei left the large hospital room. He had no choice. He would have to look for them. Junpei's heart was heavy. He couldn't shake the feeling, but there was a part of him that felt it would be wrong to, even if he could. With every step he took, his legs felt more and more like lead. Sometime later, Junpei found himself at the chapel. He stepped inside, expecting to find nothing. But there, on the red carpet in the center of the room... June. No, codenames didn't matter any longer. She was Canny.
Akane!
Junpei cried her name and ran. Like lightning, he ran across the room toward her.
Akane!
He stumbled to a stop. As they looked down at her body, lying so still on the floor, he felt the icy grip of fear upon his heart. She was still, so very still.
まさかそんなわけないよな
Slowly, Junpei bent down toward her. His hands shook, and he felt very cold and very hot at the same time. He forced himself to look. Her back was moving. Slowly it rose and fell. Relief washed over him.
Akane!
Junpei reached down and gently, very gently, lifted her up.
Akane! しっかりしろ
Her face was pale, and her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes were blank and cloudy. They stared straight at Junpei, but saw nothing. Trembling, Junpei wrapped his arm around her back. She was cold. Very cold. Junpei tried to convince himself that it was only his imagination, but she felt as though she were fading away. He could feel his heart pounding frantically in his chest.
あかね一体何があったっていうんだどうしてお前こんなことに俊平君ごめんなさい
Her voice was very faint.
私もうダメかも何言ってるんだ絶対に死なせるもんか必ず助けてやるありがとう俊平君今まで本当にありがとう私幸せでしたもう一度俊平君に会えて本当に嬉しかったバカ野郎一度どころか二度でも三度でも何回だって会ってやるよだから頼むしっかりしてくれあかる俊平君知ってました私俊平君のこと小学校の頃からずっと
Junpei's vision had gone blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of of heat deep in his heart, like a white-hot flame. He looked down at Akane. Oh. There was a crack of static from above his head, and a voice spoke. Junpei frantically scanned the ceiling for the source of the voice. Junpei didn't have time to ponder what that meant before he heard the door slam shut behind him. He spun around. There was no one there. Was it Zero? She managed a single nod. Junpei laid her back down gently and leapt for the door. He yanked it open and shot outside. No one. The hall was empty. There was nothing moving anywhere. He didn't want to leave Kani alone any longer than he had to, so Junpei turned around and headed back to the chapel. She wasn't there. She wasn't anywhere. She'd been lying there on the floor just moments before, and now she was gone. His cries split the heavens themselves. He screamed until his voice gave out. Then he screamed some more. But there was nothing. No answer. His voice faded away, and all that remained was cold, unfeeling silence. That was when he noticed it. A strange smell, one he'd smelled before. Nine seconds later, Junpei's mind winked out. Game over. I didn't see it, but I missed a typo somewhere. Music, Shinji Hosoi. Yep. When I see that name in any credits or just any like game, it's just, you know, it's good. Just that's soundtracks by Shinji are the best. So many people have the same last names. How much of this was family related? The end, or is it? It's definitely an end. An end we've been waiting to get to for so long. Because I believe I've already done about 20 parts of this. You have reached one ending. This game has multiple endings. In order to experience all the endings, you need to play through the game multiple times. Make sure to save your progress now to retain all information you've acquired. Memory of Escape has been added to the title screen. Memory of Escape enables you to replay the escape rooms you have completed. Would you like to save the info you obtained during this playthrough? After saving the game, we'll restart from the beginning. Please select a save slot. Safe end. And then here's the flowchart. So yeah, I'm gonna stop, but next, next time I'm going to do the true end, because I know how to get it from here, and I might as well just do the main two right now, and then I can go back and just, since I'll have most of these paths unlocked after the true end, I can go back and just like go through the bad ends and do them. So like I can get all the bad endings after doing the two only good ones, or the two required ones, and then you can see how it all works out. But yeah, basically it's gonna be like, this is where we went and this is where we're gonna be going for the true end, and then I think we go through here maybe, and then after that, I don't remember which path we go down. I want to say it's this one, but I'm not sure. It might be this one. All I know is we have to go through this one, and then that's all I remember. No, 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 no. Yes. Alright, back to the title. Or back to the menu, whatever. Well that was fun. We finally got to we got unending. That's what I've been trying to get at for a while. Unending. Oh. But we've done that, and now we're gonna go through the true end next time. But I'm gonna save that for next time because I've been recording for like 2.5 hours. Really, dude. How do I normally end these things? It's been a long time since I actually recorded something. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Stay cool, keep crazy, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Ta-ta!